Hello, and we're going very creative with astrology now. One thing I've always been drawn to with goddess asteroids is to get out of the intellectual understanding of astrology, which is important as well, but to really give people like an experiential, creative experience of astrology. So I should probably call what I do embodied astrology or something like that. I don't know. I was still sort of contemplating 30 years on what on earth to call this. And it's just kind of following my intuition, really. So we're in the transit of the 59th gene key at the moment, and this is my EQ, which is the EQ is your gene key that lays down your blueprint, if you like, between the ages of 7 and 14. And I actually share this gene key with my partner, and we got together a year ago when the sun was transiting the 59. So as you can imagine, this has been like a huge one for us. And so I just wanted to share a bit of the story of this gene key through my personal experience. So it moves from dishonesty to intimacy and then to transparency. So my childhood was quite interesting, and I actually had a bit of a real, I call it a disassociative experience a couple of days ago, which I had post-traumatic stress disorder in my 20s, but these kind of things are quite rare now. You know, I've had to do a lot of inner work on these quite severe triggers of trauma. So, but this trigger went off the other day, the 59 line 2, boom, something happens that sets off this like really deep process. So I've been in this incredible healing the last few days, so many friends and experiences, and the healing of the ocean actually has come in so much. And this morning I went swimming in the sea. I was a good swimmer when I was young, and I feel like I'm reclaiming myself before I went through the severe trauma at age 11 in this EQ period of childhood development. And a heron, which is the dream arc animal for the 59, flew right over me just as I got into the sea. So that was like, wow. So that was a healing point, like swimming through the sea. I've got a new friend. So this is like only the third time I've been like properly swimming in the sea. I go and play in the sea, but this is like proper swimming I'm doing. And where I can't stand anymore either. So like quite out to sea. And I just made contact with this 11-year-old. You know, I was very sporty, exceptionally physically strong before this traumatic incident happened. And so it had an amazing effect on my physical energy. It's almost like I lost all energy. And at the heart of it was a thing about dishonesty, because it turned out that my mom had been married before my dad, and so my brother was actually my half brother, but we didn't know about that. And the way it came out was very dramatic and very violent, and and I was, you know, the receiver of that violence, and it kind of made me feel like I didn't have a family anymore, like I couldn't trust my family, which was really profound, actually. You know, it was the beginning of, you know, quite a lifetime of these quite severe breakdowns. I feel quite emotional talking about it. So yeah, it's interesting to, you know, because one of the things about that dishonesty and that incident is this feeling that if I'm honest about myself, I confronted my parents because I found out about my brother, and it ended in violence. So there's this part of me that's like, if I speak my truth, what's going to happen to me? You know, am I going to be safe? Which I wasn't on that occasion. And then there was like whole other layers. So, you know, rather than kind of apologizing and making good on the situation, my parents then proceeded to force me not to tell my brother about this situation. And so for another 5 years, I was silenced, and he only found out when he went to the army, and he had to see his birth certificate. So this level of dishonesty in my family runs extremely deep, and speaking the truth about myself, and they were very religious as well. So that was another layer, that you couldn't talk about. All sorts of things were out of bounds to talk about. So being honest was very, very difficult, and it's taken years of kind of being in these sort of containers like Soul Tribe, and I've been in other ones before. And even in my 20s, I was going to women's groups run by older women. And so this healing among the sisterhood is actually one of the things that's really helped me. And another thing that's helped is this journey, this descent of Inanna into the underworld, to meet a Rishki girl who's her dark, wounded sister. Because it's quite interesting going into disassociation now when I'm much more conscious than when I was younger. So what I noticed immediately is the feelings of shame about having the actual experience of disassociating and shaking and, you know, being kind of suddenly I'm really not okay. So the feelings of shame, and then the intense fear that the person with me is going to leave me because they've seen this wounded self, and they're not going to be able to handle it, and they're going to say bye-bye, see you. So there's like just witnessing all of this, and in the moment, kind of all the forgiveness, actually, the self-forgiveness came in, you know, being my own mother, my own mother's arms around me, and forgiving this part of myself for kind of being out of control. You know, I think that's how I'd put it, the out of control. So what I want to invite you to do is to think about a part of yourself that you find really difficult to show anybody else. And this is going to be the first step in our neurographic, that we're going to summon up that feeling. Perhaps the feeling is shame, or, you know, maybe you feel angry about having to be dishonest. Maybe you feel oppressed. So it could be all kinds of feelings. So while you think about that, today we're also going to call in our allies, the dream arc animals. So I'm going to read, I'll post it in the chat as well. So while I read about snail, you can think about, what issue do you want to work on today? Okay, where are we? Put this, I'll write it in the chat as well so you can see it afterwards. Your message was too long. Okay, we'll just do part of Snail's message then. Let's try it. Do some of it. No, it's still too long. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to read it. I'll post it in the tribe afterwards. Okay, so this snail is the dream arc creature for gene key 59. So this is about this dishonesty. I am snail gliding into your life. I have some very deep lessons to impart to you. O wise human, mine is a spiral teaching, a universal truth that all unlearned lessons return in circles. Nowhere is this more evident than in your relationships. What is it you wish for? Where does your longing hide? What is under that veneer? You cannot hide any truth from the divine. All is seen and all is known. She provides you with the exact teaching that you need, whether alone or in a relationship, whether friendship or sexual intimacy. She offers you exactly what you need to traverse the next turn in the spiral of your learning. I love that as well, because sometimes we do a lot of work on these issues and then they come back round again. It's like, what the hell? You know, I thought we had this one sorted and then there it is again. But I quite like the idea of thinking of snail's spiral is always going to bring us round to another layer when that appears in our experience. Okay, so the first process in neurographic art is we have blank paper and a dark pen, and we're going to get the shadow emotional energy down as a scribble. So yeah, the invitation again is to think of a part of yourself that you find really hard to be honest about, or maybe you feel ashamed about, or you know, you wouldn't tell your parents about, or your husband, or your children, maybe. So these are maybe ways to know, like, this part of yourself that's hidden. So we're just going to do that very quickly and spontaneously, is put that emotion down. Okay, so that's what mine looks like. That's what we're aiming for, is a huge scribble, basically. Okay, so the next part of neurographic art is that we do what's called smoothing. So all the edges that are spiky, we start to round off. I know most of you have done this before, so carry on with doing that. And I'm just going to show for anyone watching on Soul Tribe later, and also my YouTube channel. So you can see here that I'm rounding off all the edges. So that's a spiky edge there. That's one that's I've been rounding off. So this is very soothing for the brain. Yeah, and these little points represent like brain synapses. So as we're doing this process, we're literally soothing our brain from this like energy. It's now being smoothed over bit by bit. Okay, so I'll put some music on, I think. And we'll have sort of around 5 minutes or so to do that. Can you hear the music?
Yes, we can.
Savitrovareniam Pargore Vasyani Mahi Iyuyona Prachodaya Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsavitrovareniam 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 Pargore Vasyani Mahi Iyuyona Prachodaya.
Okay, so in this next step, we're going to be creating some new lines, and these lines represent, or they tell our brain, I can do something different. I can create a new neural pathway, a new behavior. So what we're going to do is you have like you're going to do a line that's a squiggly line from one side to the other. And so it should touch each side of the page. And your brain will have an idea of exactly where it would like to put this line. And so we're going to do it in a different place to where our brain first would like to do it. So my brain is saying start it there. And so instead of there, I'm going to start it 2 inches over, or you can start it in a completely new place. But the whole idea, as I say, is to say to your brain, we can create something new from this old pattern. We can self-soothe and we can do something new. So my second line I want to do there. So I'm going to start it up here. Whee! Very easy. And I suggest doing about 2 or 3 lines because then we're going to smooth them off again. And we only have an hour today. So if you want to finish it today, don't do too many lines. So while we're doing that, I'm just going to invite in Gorilla, who is the dream arc animal for the gift of the 59, which is intimacy. So what I found interesting, and we're talking about this in one of the astrology sessions, is that the gift isn't honesty, it's intimacy. I think that's a very interesting contemplation on why that is. And one of the things I like about this gene key is it really encourages you to be honest with yourself first. So sometimes we kind of have this thing, we have to tell everyone everything, and we might only have just met them, you know, but I kind of feel it's a lot more subtle than that. It's about, first of all, sharing with the right people, first of all, you know, choosing the right people, choosing safe spaces, you know, not just putting it all out there, because that is how you can end up kind of re-traumatizing yourself again. Anyway, let's invite in Gorilla to help us as we're doing this next part. I am Gorilla. I am the beast that lives in your unconscious. I am the huge power that lies submerged within you. How will you release me from the cage of your conditioning? What might happen if I were to be freed? I am a force of evolution bent on change. Ooh, I'm getting the clearing as I read it. This is why I'm feared, because when I am given free rein, then I will change you. I will cause you to undergo a huge transmutation at every level of your being. I speak to all humans now. And yet the thing you fear, change, it will come in a tidal rush that sweeps all before it, and you will not be able to follow it with your logical mind. The change itself is so wonderful and filled with grace that once it has passed, you will not even remember how it happened. All great change requires chaos. In your life, as you open to this great love inside your soul, this is what will happen to you. It will appear at first to cause a period of great challenge that will in time lead to deep intimacy. This intimacy is healing for your spirit. It will be an intimacy with all life. All your inner defenses and walls must be torn down. There will be times when I hammer them down with my fists, and times when they melt as gently as ice in the soft morning sun. You have only to give in to me, to let this love into every corner of your life. The love of which I speak is nothing less than the voice of the divine. There is nothing to fear. I will protect you. The only pain comes from resistance. So dive now into your relationships and use them as the means of finding tolerance, forgiveness, surrender, self-esteem, and deep intimacy. Allow others into your soul. This is the next phase of your evolution, and if you allow me, I will guide you as one of the first souls to be broken down and then rebuilt in the image of love. I actually feel that really connected to this Venus cycle as well. I feel this is this next Venus cycle is really trying to break us down and build like deep levels of self-love in us. We are a new vessel of love. Yeah, and that means freedom too, the 55 opposite. That's what's a bit of a mind-boggling one. This isn't kind of relationships as we've sort of known them, really. They're going to ask quite a lot of us. Okay, so let's have another, well, I'll leave you to smooth out, and then when you've smoothed out, you can start filling in with color. So if I show you a previous one, you can choose your colors and do them in kind of blocks of color that in your mind kind of connect to you. You can intuitively choose colors, or you might want to choose colors because they represent something. So red might represent blood, or blah blah blah, grounding, chakra colors, etc. So, okay, so could you hear the music, by the way? Just do a thumbs up, yeah? Okay, I'll put it back on again.
the such, jugaad such, heavy such, nanak hosi be such. Satna karta pur nirbo nirver, akal murad ajuni sebangur prasaja. Ad such, jugad such, heavy such, nanak hosi be such. Ekongar sadna karta purak nirbo nirver, akal murad ajuni sebangur prasad jap. Ad such, jugad such, heavy such, nanak hosi be such, nanak hosi be such. Ekongar sadna karta purak nirbo nirver, akal murad ajuni sebangur prasad jap. Ad such, jugad such, heavy such, nanak hosi be such, nanak hosi be such. Satna karta pur nirbo nirver, akal murad ajuni sebangur prasad jap. Ad such, jugad such, heavy such, nanak hosi be such. Ekongar sadna karta purak nirbo nirver, akal murad ajuni sebangur prasad jap. Ad such, jugad such, heavy such, nanak hosi be such, nanak hosi be such. Ekongar sadna karta.
Okay, so in this last part, you can carry on colouring if you're still at that stage. We're going to introduce the Siddhi frequency. So what's advised for this in neurographic art is to use some kind of special pen that stands out. So I have these gold or silver pens I like to use. And basically you're going to put a few lines in that represent the Siddhic state. Now, these are a bit different to the other lines because they begin, I'm just looking for one I've done before. What you want to do is begin your Siddhic line at parts of your image that look very dense. In fact, did I do this one this way? That. Okay, so you can see like here in my image, around here, is this kind of dense energy. And you want to like use the Siddhic line pull the dense energy somewhere, or just make it feel intersected or meshed with the densest. I've never known fail to turn things. You can just put your emotion down and then do this other process in the it's very self-soothing. Okay, so I'm going to read of heron. I got to this morning is transparency. I am heron. As I began the world, so I will wait until its end. Infinite is my patience. I am the hunter. How can such patience serve you right now? What things do you doubt? What attributes of others give you concern? What in your relationships is bothering you? I have learned that all such things are insubstantial. Stand by the water's edge with me and gaze into the miry waters, and you will learn the same. Do this. Make a trip to a river or water source and allow yourself to stare into it. Soon your troubles will seem further away. How to attain such transparency in your consciousness? You must learn to wait. Wait as though you have eternity. All things resolve themselves in time. This does not mean that you cannot take action, but it does bring clarity to action. Pause and create space around this big issue in your life. Gaze at it without to understand or resolve it. The water will become still and you will see a new way. Hunt unconsciously for the truth. If you stay still for long enough, soon you will see the prey. Okay, so I'll post those from the Gene Keys Dream Arc in the tribe so you can have a read of them. There's a lovely free Dream Arc retreat going on at the moment. I've been helping host on this thing called Clubhouse, which I'm really enjoying. And then there's going to be a retreat in September for the Dream Arc that I'm hosting on as well. So check out the free thing, and if you feel moved, sign up for the retreat. It's already like bringing in so much synchronicity. I want to do the camel, which came up this week in the desert animals, for the 19, which is codependence. And I think it would be a really good one for us to do around the Venus morning star, because it's all to do with self-love and self-sufficiency. Just the perfect animal, really, for Venus morning star. I can imagine us all crossing the desert on our camels. Okay, so we're probably not finished, but it would be lovely if you wanted to share anything of your process. Just got about a couple of minutes each, so not a hugely long sharing, but just some essence of what you've been doing in your process would be lovely.